to the doctors.
Unless it's really bad.
But that's why a lot of people, particularly working class people, die because they don't want to bother the doctor, or they're mildly embarrassed, or they don't know symptoms, bad symptoms. Go to the doctor if you're not sure about something. Like you were terrified to go and have your prostate.
Still not doing it.
Why not?
I wish you wouldn't talk about it, because now Suzanne will listen to this and she'll go, "Oh yeah, you haven't been," and start dragging it up again.
But why are you worried about a qualified doctor?
I don't know what they're doing up there.
What they
What
just
year
pop?
are we in?
They. What are you talking about? They pop their.
What I mean, though.
Why?
Well, it's 2006.
Yeah.
Why are they still using the index finger?
What would you prefer, the forefinger or the thumb? Would you?
No, what I mean is, we've got...
Or a thumb on a stick, some kind of thumb on a stick.
Would you prefer it to
a
be...
mechanical thumb, a robot thumb?
Why isn't it just a little camera? Or something that can...
Well, they put the camera up if they initially discover something.
But just put the camera up straight away.
No, they don't need to. They pop the finger up, feel that the prostate isn't swollen, wiggle it around a little bit up your back passage. What are you worried about?
I don't think they need to do
that.
Are
you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed about being in a room with your trousers around your ankles and a little fella popping
A little bit, yeah.
Why?
And the other thing is, it's not just that, is it? So you go in there, they check your heart out and that, which to me is the most important thing, because that's what keeps you going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? You've got to go there. You sat on the bus stressing out, thinking, oh, in less than half an hour I'm going to have a finger up the arse, right?
What is the problem?
And they go in, they check your heart, they probably check your testicles and that.
What's up with that? They check your testicles, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all building, and you sat there going, oh, soon in.
Yeah.
And that's what puts me off.
So if they just came round when you were asleep, Suzanne just let them in and goes, he's over there, right? Yeah. And they crept up and went, bang. You go, what are you doing?
I just don't understand why they don't teach you how to do it yourself.
How can they?
Wow.
How can they teach? Imagine you squatting in a corner with one hand on your bollocks and the other finger up the arse going, it seems to be all right.
Carl, you don't understand the phrase "a stitch in time saves nine." I don't think you should be doing any kind of invasive medical research in your own human body.
But then...
Who knows what trouble you're going to cause?
No, but then at least...
You would get stuck.
Yeah.
You would get stuck.
Susanna come out, your fist would be up your own arse. Okay, I think it's probably time. Let me just check my watch. Yeah, it's monkey news time.
Oh, chimpanzee that monkey news, you.
Right, last week we talked about, the one who was good at getting over, putting out fires and stuff, ended up working for the fire department.
Yeah, not true, but sure.
Yeah. But if the building had good grippage, he was right up there.
Yeah, it's not true, but go on.
So this week, anyway, it's more about tall buildings and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It was this bloke who was a builder.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you know what builders are like? They sort of move about, don't they, from sort of building to building, just building.
Well, yeah, once they've built it, the building's done and they move on to build some more.
Building to building, just building, yeah.
So he goes to his next job and that, right?
Who does, the builder?
The builder.
Yep.
He goes to, like, the boss,
new building.
the boss of this building who's building it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And he says what unto him?
Do you need anything building?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, he says, yeah, there's plenty of work and that going about.
Yep.
He said, we're working on this one here. He said, get going on it, like, there's your bricks and your cement and stuff, get on with it.
Yeah.
Any
plans? Just build.
Just start building.
Yeah. Go up.
They're getting on with it and stuff, it's all going well. Right?
Yep.
But he notices that there's someone working high up, right, on the top bit.
Sure.
Because do you know, like, there's girders and stuff on these big buildings.
Yeah.
And he's still building the bottom bit,
and
which
he's
is
still,
weird.
Yeah, well, that's the way they do it there, apparently, just to sort of speed it up, work from top to middle, from top to bottom.
Sure, that's in imaginary land.
We put the spire on, now we better do the foundations, and then put some stuff in the middle to keep it up there.
So anyway, he's saying to, like, the other workers, he's going, who's that up there?
Who's that up there?
He's working on his own.
The little fella, was he?
And,
the little hairy fella up there.
Who's the little hairy fella up there with the hard hat?
And the other fellas were going, look, don't ask questions, the boss decides who he takes on, we're happy to be getting paid here.
Don't ask questions! Yeah. Well, I'll see him when he comes down.
So he said, well, it's pretty impressive, the work rate he's doing, the way he's getting from one girder to the other.
Swinging, is he?
He doesn't seem to be scared of the heights or anything. He said, no, just let him get on with it, we work well as a team. So anyway.
What nonsense is this? He believes all this.
Yep.
So he sees the boss and he goes, that fella up there, who's the fella up there? He's pretty good. And he's like, look, I'll pay you. Let's just all get on with our jobs. Like. Lunchtime comes, they're all sat on a little wall having the sandwiches. He's thinking he'll come down in a bit. He's just carrying on.
Is he just still going?
Still going on that, right? So the fella says to the boss man, he says, "Isn't that fella up there going to come down and join us for lunch?" He said, "Like I said, mate, don't worry about him, right?" He said,
very secretive. I'm suspicious about this fella. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why he's working through his lunch. I don't know why he's not scared of heights. And I don't know why he's swinging from girder to girder. It's weird. Go on.
So he said, "Oh, anyway, you've reminded me that he's up there." He said he's doing a lot of riveting and stuff up there. He probably needs some more nuts to...
Right, sure. And what kind of nuts is that? Is that nuts to food, or...?
So he said, "What, nuts?" He said, "Yeah, just there's a bag full of them there. Just put them on the hook, send them up, and he can get on with his job." So anyway, he picks these nuts up.
Nuts,
right?
yeah.
Just hooks them on. He thinks they're not that heavy, considering, you know, I mean, they're normally pretty heavy, aren't they? Like nuts
big
and
bag of
bolts and
nuts,
stuff.
yeah.
So anyway, he has a little glance in.
Oh, no, what's in there?
Nuts.
What, you mean nuts that you can eat?
Nuts that you can eat,
Oh.
right? Bag up, and he's thinking, what's all that about? He checks him out, starts to stare, works it out. You can see that he's a little chimp running about. So he goes, "I'm not happy with this."
Why isn't he?
Because he's working for an organisation that's, you know, there's unions for this sort of stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, he's not going, "That's amazing. They've got a chimp riveting this building together."
Yeah.
That's not scary. He's wondering if they're breaking union rules.
So he
You
goes...
don't have to talk.
So he goes and has a word with
He
the boss.
goes to the boss and he goes, "Look, I've worked out what you're playing at here."
Yeah.
He said, "All them out
Is the
there..."
boss sitting in a tyre?
He said, "All them lot out there might not be wise to what's going on here." He
Yeah.
said, "But I've clocked it, and you're sending nuts up to it. It's a monkey. It's not on." So he goes, "Look, you know, we're just all trying to earn a living here." He said, "Don't get involved in it. I'm happy to pay you, but I'm paying him. Don't interfere."
He's paying him.
And he's saying, "Look, I'm just not happy with this. It's not allowed." So the boss was saying, "Well,
We
to
pay
be honest,
peanuts.
mate,"
We get monkeys.
he said, "To be honest, mate, you know, he's a great worker. He's known for... He's a good grafter. If one of you's going to go, right, I'm afraid I'll have to let you go because he's been here longer than that."
Yeah.
He was made redundant.
None of
because
that
the monkey-
happened.
He was laid off.
None of that happened.
He's laid off and that. And that's
No.
where that saying about, you know, like there's a lot of tower blocks and that in America. It's like the chimp off the old block is where... So that's monkey news.
Thanks for listening to this podcast.
Who was it hosted by?
It was hosted by a great bunch of guys called Positive Internet. They host the #1 podcast in the world, The Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
Goodbye.
and Carl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited. The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello, welcome to the 8th in this series of 12 podcasts, The Ricky Gervais Show, with The Guardian. I'm Ricky Gervais. Hello. With me, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Carl Pilkington.
All right.
So, thank you again for all your emails. We're getting thousands. We're up to about 250,000 hits a week now, people listening to this show.
Blimey.
250,000 people bothering to go in and listen to this show.
Nothing else in their lives. Nothing
All around the
better to
world.
do.
It's unbelievable, though. North America, Asia, South America, all over Europe, and thanks to everyone in England as well, where we do it from in a little room in London. Keep going to rickygervais.com and registering, because so when we finish these 12, we can email you when we come back and start again. We're going to need a little bit of time off to record the second series of extras.
Well, I'll tell you more than that. I'll just have a little breather because I know how hard you work.
And you, mate.
Well, thanks, mate. But I mean, you blinking work hard.
But Carl's been on holiday again, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Carl, you don't do anything.
And you have weekends off. You take at least 5 or 6 weeks holiday a year, even though you haven't got a job now. You're meant to be doing this, and yet you still
So
go
your
on
whole
holiday.
life's a holiday, basically.
Yeah, why do you need a holiday? You potter around. Your big day last week was going to the cobblers. So why do you need a break so much this week?
It's just that, you know, it's good for your brain and that, isn't it? It opens it up a bit.
You are not evidence for that.
Where did you go?
Gran Canaria.
For a week?
Yeah.
Just sitting around?
Well, there isn't much else to do at Gran Canaria. I mean, I don't want to go slagging a place off because every time I seem to talk about somewhere, get into trouble for it.
Right.
But it's just like a big rock. It's
Brilliant.
just volcanic, isn't it?
And you must have looked like a little barnacle on that.
Have you been there before?
Been near it before to another rock, which was just.
But
It
what,
was the
you
same
had your
sort of
fingers
thing.
burned? Why did you go?
Because you think, well, they can't have loads of these islands that are the same, like just a big rock with hotels on. They can't get away with it. So you think,
And they
well, the
obviously
next
are
one.
getting away with it. But why do you keep going to these places that are rocks? Why don't you investigate first? Ask your travel agent, is this a giant rock?
Because that's what you do, innit? You go and find out yourself. I mean, when Armstrong went to the moon, what was he expecting up there? That's a fact. That's a big rock, and he still went all that way.
I don't know what that point was.
No,
Fair enough.
so what I'm saying is though, sometimes
Tell us about the moon landing. As you started it, what do you know about that? You know, because I mean, so far you've given us a lot of insight into the moon landing. So there was Armstrong.
There was Armstrong and that.
Yeah.
There was fella called Buzz
Yeah.
and another bloke,
Yeah. Poor bastard.
Yeah, never remembered.
Yeah. Go on.
and they went up there, got out. Two of them did. One of them didn't bother. The one whose name don't know, didn't even get out to stretch his legs. Right, went all that way. They had a potter about, had a wander, came back again.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
And in
they-
your opinion, pointless?
To me, yeah. But to them, I'm sure they had a good time, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just take the risk, don't you? Go and visit a place, make up your own mind.
And so, what do you make of this place? You enjoy it, Gran Canaria? It was just a big rock, but did you
I bet the moon was better.
really?
What did you do?
It was just, it's one of them. It was big hotel, which is that's where I made a mistake. It was one of those like big, massive places where there's loads of people, and you go for your dinner.
That describes a hotel.
Yeah.
No,
Sounds like one to me.
You've nailed that.
I've been to a few. That sounds like it.
No, but do you know what I mean? Though there's the nice small ones where it's just enough people, but this is like mental, and it was all, it was full of old people really. I mean that's probably why it's called Gran Canaria, right? Because it's just
Grannies
old people.
everywhere.
Yeah, right. But what I thought I'd start doing is diary.
Okay, why?
Just because I sort of had a bit of time on my hands and that. Just thought, write it down, write stuff down.
And do you hope that this one day will become one of the great literary documents like Samuel Pepys' diary?
I haven't heard of that. Is it any good?
You've never heard of Samuel Pepys' diary?
No,
The most famous diary, other than probably Anne Frank's.
I've heard of Anne Frank's and that, and I thought if she's sat in a loft, knocking stuff up, not much going on in her life at that point, yet she
Sure.
was still writing it down.
Yeah. Whereas
Thought,
you've
well,
been
I'm
to
on
Gran
holiday.
Canaria, yeah.
I thought, so there is stuff going on that I can chat about. Start a diary.
Sure.
You started a diary.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? Did you keep it up every day?
Yeah, just...
Oh, can I read it, please?
Well, a diary is meant to be sort of...
Please, can I read some out on this podcast? Carl.
Some of it, though, is only relevant to me. It's sort of...
Oh, this is... Please, give me it. Oh, my God.
I mean, this isn't... I haven't just...
Look how big it is!
It's one of those desk diaries.
It's huge. It's about... And it's... Oh, that is amazing. Imagine if Anne Franks had been like that. As she got out... Right. Everyone would have heard it clank down on the desk.
Yeah, but my writing's quite big, isn't it?
Oh, look. Give us that.
Do you know?
that.
Do you know about joined up writing? Have you
This
heard about
is
that?
There's no point.
Amazing.
Sometimes you can't read it, can you? So it's
Right,
best
okay.
to look at ancient
look!
times.
Oh my God! It starts on the first day. This is wonderful. Going on holiday to Gran Canaria today. Woke up to the news that Tony Banks had died. There was a piece on the news about how everyone was shocked. Got me thinking about an invention that would be good. Right, a watch that counted down your life. If it says you've got 3 days left, go to the doctors. Told Suzanne about invention. She said she wouldn't buy one. But she said that about the iPod.
How would this device work? This watch? I mean, how would you know when you were about to die? Is that a concern? Again, not for you to worry about. Presumably the boffins and
No, all I was thinking is that he died and everyone was shocked about it. But if you had like a little watch on,
But how does it work? You can't just say, wouldn't it be good? How would this work? Yeah, I imagine you in the patent office going, got an idea. They go, oh, certainly, Mr. Pilkington, what's your idea? Watch that counting down your life. Oh, how does that work? What?
just wear it, just pop it on your wrist.
No, what do you mean, just pop it on your wrist? How does it work? Just pop it on your wrist. Brilliant. You're an idiot.
Well, it's interesting that he goes on. The flight to Gran Canaria was a bit bumpy. I thought about the clock that counts down your life again, and I wondered if it would know if you were going to die in a disaster. Now he's querying his own design.
He's wondering if it would know. He's invented this.
Now he's not even sure. A fella on the plane was reading Koi Mag. It was a fishing magazine. I glanced over and noticed he was reading the Pond of the Month article. Don't think they could make it into a weekly magazine. Well, to be fair to you, because I remember seeing a guy on the train once reading Carp Monthly, a magazine dedicated entirely to carp, and it had Carp of the Month. And I just thought, once you're like, the editor must be stressing, have we got any more carp? Have we got a carp that's actually done anything?
I reckon if they used the same one twice, there wouldn't be many complaints.
No one would be noticing.
No, that's the carp they used 2 years ago.
There was a really fat bloke on the plane. He was playing on his PSP. While I waited to go to the toilet, I looked at what game he was playing. It was darts. He's that fat and lazy, he can't even face playing a more active game on a games console. Me and Suzanne got off the coach along with a couple of old people. One of them was in a wheelchair. I don't think it was wise of them to come to a volcanic island with a wheelchair. Everywhere's pretty rough, paving and slopey. Guess I'll keep an eye on it as the weeks go on. Day 2 in Gran Canaria.
Brilliant, we're only at day 2.
The hotel's a bit odd. I've never seen as many cross-eyed people in one location.
That's enough, isn't it?
That's amazing!
Well, you may as well let me read on a bit more.
No, this is amazing.
We'll come back to
This
it
is a
later
brilliant diary. This might be the best diary ever written. Oh.
While sat listening to the Kinks, I wondered if everybody thinks in their accent. I know I do. What's this? What are you talking about?
Just that, when I've been sat there lying on the lounger, right, and I was thinking about stuff.
How do you know you think in your accent? Tell me a typical thought.
Because what I mean is, say if I was like, if I saw something, right? Do you know how I say like, oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
No, but
that was
I don't
being
have
said.
to. But when you think, I don't think the sentence is like I'm saying it. It's just a thought. The thought appears. It's conceptual and it's already there. It's not like I go, Rick, what? Just looking at that fellow over there, were you? Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was thinking it looks a bit weird. Oh, so was I. I don't think out whole sentences.
Whereas you have Carl, stop listening to the Kinks for a minute. Look over there. More cross-eyed people.
No, well that's
Is that how your mind works?
In a way, yeah. And
Brilliant.
that's when because I
That
thought
explains a lot.
It's great that he has to think about whole sentences.
because I thought, isn't it? Like I didn't think that's weird, isn't it? And I thought I actually think in my accent. And then I thought, does Stephen Hawking, does he, when he's doing his maths and that, is he? I don't know where he's from, so I don't know what his accent would be like.
I think he's from Kent or Cambridge or Oxford. Or
Right.
something like that.
So you think he might think in his
voice, in that voice,
his
box
computerised
thing.
voice?
Just wondered.
Had lunch inside today due to shite weather. Sat next to an old fella. Old men's ears and noses carry on growing as they get older. Suzanne noticed his fingers were fat too. Maybe they continue to grow. Suzanne didn't laugh when I said her arse had the same problem. Day 3, cloudy start to the day. Had pie and chips in a cafe. Had a bit of an argument with Suzanne because I thought it was daft that we were paying for food when we were on an all-inclusive holiday. Changed my mind when I saw they sold pie, though. The cafe was called Tattoos. The fellow who owned it didn't have any tattoos. But we never saw his wife.
Oh, brilliant.
Had a drink in a bar. Everyone sat and watched one of the local cats lick its bollocks.
It's the greatest holiday in the world. That's the entertainment in that town.
Went back to the hotel and had a sleep before tea. I love the fact you're moaning about old people, but you're just as bad.
You've done nothing so far.
He's done nothing, he's got a big hip.
Oh, God.
Woke up to news about ducks being badly treated. There was a really ugly one with bent legs.
I'm gonna die. Why does he write this down? Oh, God. Oh.
There is a fat bloke from Bolton who is in the pool as I write this. He's got a big tattoo on his back, but I can't work out what it is. ... He just got out of the pool and burped. You just felt like you had to keep us abreast of that.
Everything's in the... I just seen it get to the point where you're going, breathed in,
Yeah.
breathed out again.
There was a big fat fella in the sea who kept his t-shirt on. If you're big and fat, is there more chance of you getting burnt because there's more of you on show? I asked Suzanne, and she said she didn't know in that sort of not listening kind of way. I wanted to hang about to see if the fat bloke was going to get in the kayak, but Suzanne said we had to head back. Just let him waiting to see if he's going to capsize. We go home today, so we got up early to get the last bit of cloud.
No, it's just that it wasn't. It's not that sunny all the time. I mean, I was sat in weather that if it was like that here, there's no way I'd be sat in the garden.
Yeah.
But because you're on holiday, it's like, well, we got to sit in it. Put your coat on.
So are you going to continue to write this diary? Every single day?
It's amazing. Keep this diary up. It's amazing.
No, I will keep it up, because what I find as well is, I think earlier on, before I went away, I think I did learn something. As I wrote it down, I remembered it a bit better. So
What was that?
I just was thinking then, I forgot it now, but but I remembered looking back at it and not having to read it all, because I remembered the end of it before I read it, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, if you've enjoyed the Diary of Carl Pilkington, more next week, I hope. Another week's worth. That's amazing. I'm going to try and get that published. We'll put the odd page up on the web. Go to rickygervais.com. Don't forget to register there as well, so we can email you and let you know what's happening. Brilliant.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hey, fool! Don't give me no back chat, sucker. I ain't here to mess with you. I ain't getting in no plane. I'm here to tell you all about Friday night comedy on Channel 4. There's 3 great new comedies. New Green Wing, yeah, fool, that's nearly ready. My Name is Earl, and The Egg Crowd. They're great new comedy from the creator of Father Ted, sucker. Friday night on Channel 4, fool. Switch it on, or I'll be round your house. You stay up all night shivering, 'cause you be so mad scared. Fool.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Rick, who hosts this podcast?
The guys at Positive Internet. Why?
Now, I know you're a big fan of those guys.
Yeah, because they're brilliant.
Well, yeah, they are, and I tell you, they're working overtime. Because we've had an email from Jake, who's the director at Positive Internet, and apparently he's been in touch with the editor of the Guinness World Records book.
All right.
And he's hoping to see if we can get this podcast in the Guinness World Record breaking section, or the podcast world record breaking section, or whatever they call it. I don't know exactly what record we'd have broken. I assume it's just sheer number of listeners, is it? Or
yeah,
being the number one?
it's the number one podcast, and it's the biggest downloaded show ever at the moment.
Right.
I think that's because people have only had podcasts for a couple of years.
Yes, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when the next issue comes out. I guess it's sort of December time.
I used to get the Guinness Book of Records every year. I love it.
I've never understood why it was such a big... Who's excited to find out whether, I don't know, a man that can balance 3 egg cups on his head has beaten the record?
Well,
the
they're
next
real
year?
records as well, obviously. I used to go straight for that. I really loved the sort of animals, fastest, strongest, all that sort of thing, biggest.
But aren't they the same every year?
Well, no, they do change, and obviously there's new entries to keep it exciting. But what annoys me is that it looks like anyone can get in if you're willing to do something that no one else will bother with.
Yeah.
They did one on Big Brother where it was the stacking sugar cubes, and I was thinking, well, no one's going to bother beating that.
No.
There's people that walk along with a milk bottle on their head, and no one's going, oh, I'm a bit jealous of Bill. Why? He's broken the record. What? For walking along with a milk bottle on his head? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into training tomorrow. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I do like the real ones. There was one in there I got on a couple of years ago, and it was about disasters. And there was one where there was some big ornamental incense burners at this thing in, I think, Thailand or Korea or somewhere. And they fell and they killed 7 of the congregation. And the headline was Biggest Joss Stick Disaster. Now, again, there's no one trying to beat that. There's no one going, we need 8.
Yeah.
We need 8 people. We're going for it tonight. What do I have to do? You have to stand quite near those big joss sticks. Okay.
And what record am I breaking again?
We'll tell you after. Also, I think a lot of people waste their energy on this because there's one guy in there that can do the 100 metres in 11 seconds running backwards. And I want to say to him, turn round. Because I think you'd be fast forwards.
Yeah,
if you'd have only, from the age of 10, sort of, you might be, one of the fastest runners in the world.
Because you're never going to be considered one of the great athletes for doing it
No
backwards.
one knows about him. That's not going to ever be an Olympic sport, running backwards.
No.
Or, and now the 100 metres. Oh, one of them's putting a milk bottle on his head.
yeah. This is one to watch. There was a guy in there. I've always been fascinated by the guy. He had the world's longest fingernails, and they were truly extraordinary. And they went out and they started to curl around, obviously. And in the end, he almost looked like sort of they're just a big gnarled old fingernail. But I just thought it just seemed like such a terrible affliction, really, to be walking around. With these giant fingernails, so much you can't do. Just missing out on, Jeff, you coming bowling? I can't. Just so many different things that you miss out on. I've never quite understood who's willing to have this eat into their life. It's going to take over their whole life just so they can have their photo in this book. It seems a very bizarre impulse. Carl, have you ever been tempted by any world-breaking attempts? Do you find them fascinating or futile?
I mean, you don't get paid or anything, do you?
No, they do it for the pride.
But say like the fella who can run with a milk bottle, could he get a milk round? And do you know what I mean? I can understand that if you can use the skill, but like you say, if it's getting in the way of your life and that, then what's the point?
There was a kid at school who said, I'm in the Guinness Book of Records. And I went, oh yeah. He said, no, I am. And he brought it in, and now, I don't know if this is a valid claim. He claimed to have been in the audience. Edition was labelled, the largest audience ever for a sporting event, some giant Super Bowl game in America. He claimed to have been in the audience. Now, do you think he deserves to say he's in the Guinness Book of Records?
Sort of. I think that's a lot. As it was the largest audience ever, I think a lot of people can claim that one. I mean...
If he wanted to get a name check on doing that, he would have been best saying, I was sat in the audience in a bath of beans. Because then that would add to it, and you get a little, they'd have you in the picture, wouldn't they? So...
He's Mr. Trick
that way. Yeah.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Harry from Canterbury wants to know whether any of us have ever had any cruel nicknames. He claims that he's quite tall and rather hirsute. And he says he's often called Lurch or Wolfie. He's always thought that Carl looks a bit like Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah. No, there's no potato that round. But I suppose you could fashion a potato to be that round. Maybe we could, if anyone can carve a potato into the pop a couple of eyes on it.
Make it look as much like Carl as possible.
Exactly.
But yeah, any nicknames? Did you ever have a nickname, Rick?
No, mine was boring. I didn't have any. It was just around the name, like Jerv or something like that. No, I didn't have nicknames.
I always wanted a nickname. I just thought it was quite cool for some reason, particularly because gangsters always seem to have nicknames.
Lefty.
Fingers. Lefty, Scarface.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I thought, because no one was giving me a nickname at school, it was kind of annoying, or certainly not to my face, that I decided to just come up with one. Yeah. And so I remember I was at lunch once, and I just said to my mate Phil.
How old were you?
12, 13.
Brilliant.
I just said to him, Phil, don't know if you know, mate, but people aren't calling me Steve anymore. Everyone's calling me Spud now. Now, I don't know why I thought Spud. It's weird we should talk about Mr. Potato Head. I don't know why I thought Spud was a cool nickname. I think
it's a grown-up name, though, isn't it?
And it's also because I think it sounded like it was probably either something that you'd find in one of those kids' books, like The Famous Five, or there'd be Spud. And I always imagine with Spud, he's not the leader of the gang, but he's a reliable member.
I think Spud is the biggest lorry driver in one particular sort of car park. Yeah. And here comes Spud.
Yeah.
And he gets out, all right, boys. And he's big and massive. And Spud can eat 2 breakfasts.
Exactly, yeah. But I just, in my mind, it was, that I would be one day part of a gang, and it's, I'm Pinky, this is Jojo, and the tall guy's Spud.
And it didn't catch on, did it?
Really caught. And he just went, oh yeah, right. And no one started, and I was hoping he'd go, everyone's calling Steve Spud.
Yeah.
But of course...
Hey, Spud, the first time I said Spud, you go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be really proud, wouldn't you?
But I think that it kind of, actually, in a way, it probably revealed that I just was probably not in people's thoughts enough to get for the nickname to catch on, because you sort of need to be a real player in the school.
I think you should have gone something more memorable. I mean, I'm not saying a goggle-eyed freak or anything.
What?
No, just...
no, it's good advice, fatty. fatty pot
That's
belly.
the problem. I wasn't fat at school, and I suppose Carl didn't have a round bald head at school, did you?
No.
No.
Nickname?
Not really. I mean, there was a lot of people on the estate that I grew up on. Nicknames are big things on estates and that.
Yeah.
A lot of my dad's mates, right? What their nicknames did was tell you about them. Do you know how I said about the Elephant Man's a good name?
Yeah.
Because, you know what you're going to get. If someone said, Elephant Man's popping round in a bit, it wouldn't be a shock when he walked in.
Yeah.
Right? So it worked in that sort of thing. So there was John the Screw. right?
John the Screw.
Yeah.
Well, he had sex a lot, or he worked in a prison.
No, he had a DIY shop. So you had him, right? There was Fred the Veg,
Yeah.
which is
I assume it's because he was at the same IQ as you.
Or he was in a coma.
Yeah.
Right.
There was my uncle, Tattoo Stan.
All right.
Yeah, he had like loads of tattoos that he'd just done himself.
Oh, right.
Problem was, because he did his tattoos himself, the ones on his left arm were really good because he was right-handed. On his right arm, rubbish. Right? So there was him.
Great.
And there was Jimmy the Hat.
Jimmy the Hat.
Yeah.
Did he always wear a hat?
No, he didn't. That was the point there. That he never wore a hat.
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
How can you pick up on someone never wearing a hat? How would you ever notice? I'll tell you what, I've noticed something about Jimmy. What?
Go on.
He doesn't wear a hat. Why was he not called Jimmy the Parrot? Because he never carries a parrot.
No, but that's just the way. I mean, that's how they work in it.
Here comes Jimmy Three Legs. Why'd you call him that? He hasn't got 3 legs.
I didn't really have one apart from like I had a CB. You know, like when you'd go on a CB radio and have a chat to people.
Oh, this was a craze in the was it late 70s, early 80s?
Sort of early 80s.
And it was just short band radio, wasn't it? Everyone had these little handsets and they'd speak to each other in the sort of local...
I think it started off with like
lorry
truckers
drivers,
and
isn't it?
that.
Yeah, truckers, yeah, because there was that thing from like about 1977,
Convoy.
it was Convoy, yeah.
Yeah, so I had one of them, and my handle, I had 2
Handle
different names.
means your nickname, your
Yeah,
name.
there's loads of code stuff.
Yeah.
I had a couple. I had there was Pilkey 01, because
Right.
like I say, there's a lot of Pilkingtons and that in Manchester. So I just thought, give it a number. If someone wants Pilkey 02, it's open. Do you know what I mean? They can have it. And then
like it's people scrabbling. I want a Pilkey one.
And then because I did boxing and that,
Well, you did it once.
Yeah.
well, I'd Boxer Boy, because I thought that's quite a good image as well. That's kind of like people going, oh, don't mess with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he asks what your handle is, tell him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Boxer Boy and that.
Yeah.
So just had them 2, and I used to just go on there and.
Pointless. What is the point of this?
Well, you just meet people, don't you?
And you
So
don't meet people. You say, "What's your handle?" You go, "Box Boy." What's yours? Rubber duck. All right, cheers.
But then you'll say then you go, oh, what's your 20?
What's that mean?
That's where are you?
Well, why don't you say, "Where are you?"
Because just in case there's someone who's listening in who you know, you hear about this all the time, don't you? People listening, jotting stuff down.
Oh, right. So, just in case someone in the world doesn't know what handle means, they're out of the loop. They're out of the loop.
It's not a difficult code to crack, is it? If
Yeah.
you're trying to track someone.
It's hardly the head of the mafia talking to each other because the FBI are on the wire. It's ridiculous. Like, I go, oh, you keep saying that, what's your handle? And they come back with something else. I can't work out what's going on.
No, it's like anything, isn't it? That's what codes are all about, isn't it? You set them up and that.
Go on, and tell me the code then.
Reveal at long last to the world what
Yeah.
these codes are.
Right, so
Yeah.
what's your 20? Where
Oh,
are you?
This is better than the Enigma.
Yeah.
Right, now here we go.
Right.
How many candles are you burning?
Does that mean how big's your car or something like that? Horsepower or something?
See? No, that's
Oh,
all
what
the-
time